We're live. We're back. It's Sunday night. There's no Jamie tonight, so I've replaced him with a rather attractive young lady. Kimmy the Spark is in the house. But before we get to this, before we get to finding out what Kimmy's been up to, the lunacy that she has to go through being an electrician in London, we're going to quickly talk about our sponsors. So first and foremost, CHAUVIN ARNOUX. Power quality analyzing, first class power quality analyzing. Their Pell model for power quality analyzing is probably one of the best in the country at the moment. It does everything you need it to do. I'm not super technical, so don't ask me what it actually does. Go and speak to Kev. Kevin is a first class technical guy from CHAUVIN ARNOUX. He will answer all of your questions. Or alternatively, you can go and check out some of Jamie's stuff and find out a bit more about them. Now, the primary sponsor, my shop, the electricianspod.shop. Now, head over to electricianspod.shop where you can find all of your Verso gear. Now, the Verso fuse boards are designed for installers in mind. It's not like a fuse board that the customer wants you to buy. It's a fuse board that you want the customer to buy because it's so nice to install. Good quality stuff. The AFDDs work unlike the other brands. And yeah, it's just really good gear. Socket switches and spurs, first class stuff. Go and check it out. electricianspod.shop. And if you mention hashtag laser eyes, I think it's free shipping at the moment. There you go. Kimmy, how the very hell have you been? Like, it's been a long time since you graced this channel with your presence. How have you been?
I have been on a roller coaster of life, as it happens to all of us. I think I've been through a little quarter life crisis over the last few months, but I am back and I am rebuilding my whole self-employed career pretty much from scratch. I say from like 20%.
Hold on. So before, let's get back to the start. So when you decided to leave me high and dry and skank out the podcast, you was doing it because like you were flying, you had all this going on, and so what you're basically saying is you've come back to the podcast because without me, like, life weren't worth living.
Basically, yeah, I've come around. It's been about 2 years since you discovered me. You know what's funny? I was telling my friend, she was like, so how did you become this famous electrician? And I said, you know what? There's a guy called Skinny Sam. And
I lost a bit of weight.
He discovered me. He just basically, I used to pretend I was a guy, right? Because remember, I used to post on Instagram hiding the fact that I'm a woman. And he one day, like, I sent you a voice note or something? He was like, what? Are you a girl? And I was like, yeah. And, he just said, come out and show your face. And I did. And here I am. Like, it just blew up. So we've come a long way. And here I am now coming back on your podcast again and again and again to just catch up with you, because you are the original co-founder of Kimmy the Sparks, basically. And you even picked the name for me.
I did, didn't I? I will take that credit. I did. Now, you were doing well and stuff, and I know you've had a few personal problems, and we're not going to get into that. And you've had a few professional problems. We're not going to get into that. So now, let's talk about what you've been doing to get work and how it's all sort of how you're clawing back to the top.
So I've only started working again this October, which has been like the last 2 weeks.
It's only like the 12th today, isn't it?
It's been 2 weeks. And funnily enough, my son's got 2 weeks half term. So for the next 2 weeks, I basically won't be able to work as well. So it's just like setback after setback. And I lost my mobile. It got completely damaged, like the CPU fried or whatever happened. So
yeah, but hold on a minute. If you lose your phone, don't you just go onto the iCloud and you get
no, because you know what? It kept coming up with like 79p. I was like, I'm not paying for that. Okay, now I know that 79p would have been definitely worth it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but you had to pay for the iCloud, but I didn't. So nothing was backed up. No pictures, no mobile numbers, no contacts, nothing. So, when I've started coming back into work now, I've realized that I've got no contacts. I can't let my clients know that I am back to work. And I communicated with them through WhatsApp only, because they were just sort of like small landlords that have 2 or 3 properties. I didn't have the email addresses or anything.
Where did you find these landlords?
Well, I'm a little bit of this weird hippie thing. They just manifest, like they just pop out of thin air.
Oh, bro, don't come with that manifesting shit again.
They just pop out of thin air, honestly. So one of the ladies, this one lady gave out my phone number at church, and then all the ladies gave out my number to the other ladies, and then all of a sudden all these church ladies were just calling me. So that was one thing. And yeah, there's just lots of small little clients like that just somehow discovered me through mystical sources that I never put myself in, because I've never advertised. So I've never done paid advertising. I've never done like leaflets or whatever. I did print business cards once, and I gave out one business card, and from that one business card I got enough work to never have to give out another business card.
That's mad, isn't it? Do you think that comes from the way you are? Do you think it's the fact that, like a lot of these, would you say more your clients are ladies and they like have a certain amount of comfort using you?
No, most of my clients are men. I'd say about 70% men, 30% women.
Yeah.
Yes, there's not much consistency of where they find me or how they find me, but I do think there is that whole difference of how you live your life. So some people like the structure, you get your 9 to 5, you go to work, you get your paycheck, you come home. Some people like the employed lifestyle where, you try to build your business, try to employ other people. And some people just like to float about. That's like myself. I don't know what I'm doing. So every day I get my jobs like the day before. I don't know what I'm doing next week, but I know for sure that if you call me every single day of the week, I'll be busy working. So since I've come back to work in October, I had no plans. I literally woke up, 1st of October was a Sunday, and I said, you know what, from Monday, somehow, magically, I'll just have work again. And I woke up, I got dressed, I put my clothes on, went out, and I get a phone call. And it's this one guy, he's like, oh, hey, I've got your phone number from someone who I don't even recognize. And he goes to me, oh, do you mind just going down to this address just to see someone's home, because we're trying to repossess the property because they didn't pay their rent? And I said, look, this is not really a service I offer, but you know what? I'm not doing anything anyways. I'm just out sort of trying to somehow think of how to get back to work, right? So I did it. Went, knocked on the door, didn't get an answer. So I said to the guy, look, there's no answer. I'll charge you like a no access fee. And because obviously I've not been working, my confidence was a bit low. So I said to him, look, £20, that's all I'll charge. So I sent him the invoice, he paid it. And when I sent the invoice, he saw my email address was like, at the bottom, you've got your signature, that it said electrician. So he goes to me like, oh, are you an electrician? I said, yeah. He said, can you do a test for me tomorrow? I said, okay. Went to do the test. He goes, I've got 2 more in the same block of flats. Can you do the other 2? So I said, okay. So now I went from no work, no clients, to this one guy somehow finding me, to then the next day, I earned like nearly £700 in one day, because I did one EICR from morning, right? And then I worked afternoon in the evening, and one of the EICRs just had so many remedials. Everything was awful in that place. So everything I charged for the remedials, I basically made £750 on the Tuesday, and it was like crazy. I didn't have to advertise nothing. It was just insane. And I've literally got proof on my phone if anyone wants to ever doubt this crazy magic. But yeah.
But see, this is what winds me up, right? I've been trying to rack my brains on how to get some guerrilla advertising going, or get because I've made the transition from doing agency work to doing more of my private stuff. I would say it's probably 70-30 private stuff now. So I do a lot more of my own work, and I've had quite a steep drop off over the last couple of weeks. Just doesn't matter what advertising I was doing, I'm just not getting any conversion of jobs. And here you are, just sitting in your car thinking about fairies, and jobs are coming in.
Obviously, it's great. And then the next day, again, I went home now, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got nothing else to do. But then I said to myself, because I'm trying to build back up, every morning I'm going to wake up and put on my uniform no matter what. So I put on my uniform now. I've come out, no jobs, nothing to do for the day. But, here I am with my faith. I went to CF to get a hot chocolate, walked in CF, and as I'm getting a hot chocolate, just started doing small talk with the guys in the queue. I was like, oh, like, what do you do? Da, da. And the guy, anyway, somehow the conversation unfolded. I said, look, I do EPCs as well. If you ever need an EPC or, someone to do your EICRs, while you're busy, give me a shout. He calls me now. He gives me 2 energy performance certificates to do. They're like £85 each. So again, I made like 150. Then from him, I got more jobs. So then for the rest of the week, I was busy just from that interaction with the wholesalers. And then I had another client as well, who then found me through him. And long story short, in that week, I made a week's wage, like a month's wage, from no advertising, nothing, just sort of networking and having that belief that, look, I'm back to work and somehow things will happen. So, when people say like, there's not enough work to go around, this and that, I think it's all perspective, because half the electricians I know are too busy and they need backup to do their jobs. The other half are saying, Kimmy, please, like the work's dried up. I don't know what to do. And, we're all living in the same world, but we're all living in different realities. One guy's work's dried up, the other guy can't handle it. And here I am, like, kind of floating about. So I think in terms of getting work, it's there. It's just sort of depend on your belief system for you to tap into that work or advertise and get the clients, get them to come to you or find ways to put yourself out there.
You know what's so mental about it, right? I want to just mock you and I want to actually tell you you're a lunatic. But
you're mocking on my bank account. I want to just laugh back at your mocking.
But it's true. It's like what you're saying is basically what you're saying is get out there and find the work. Stop saying there isn't any work. Change the way you're thinking. Go and find the work.
Yeah.
But you're saying it like a hippie, so it comes out like you're manifesting it. But actually, what you're doing is you're being proactive. You're believing. It's also a set of. You're quite prepared. So you've done all your little qualifications, like your EPC qualification, and you're all what are you, NAPIT or NIC?
I'm still neither.
So how you doing the ICRs?
So that's another thing. You don't need to be part of a certification body to do EICR. So to do fuse board changes and things like that, to do Part P, ideally you want to go through a certification body. But to do an EICR, you don't legally have to be with the certification body. So this is why you have apps like Powered now. You have as iCertified. This is why you can go to CF and buy a pad of certificates. So you just need to be a competent. And what's the terminology they use? Competent and
qualified? You're asking the wrong person for that shit.
Yeah, qualified and competent person. Anyways, but that doesn't mean that you need to be with a certification body. So yeah, you're allowed to give out EICRs. But again, that is a whole thing that is a big debate, because it's something that ideally, like, I'd want it to be how it is with EPCs, where, you log in and only people that have gone through the vetting process can actually give out an EICR. But with this means that anyone can just download the app and give it out, right? Which is a big problem. And it's not something that I would ever really want people to kind of like pick up on. But obviously I'm realizing I forgot this is live recording, so it's not like we can take it back. But I'm not saying anything wrong. This is literally legal, but I just would hate for builders to pick up on it and be like, oh, wait, what? And then start giving out dodgy, but they do that anyways. Do you know how many dodgy certificates are around?
I'm a little bit out of my depth here. I don't really know the ones and twos around all that. I think you're probably right. I know there's no legal requirement to have NIC or anything like that.
Yeah, so just to give the installation certificates, you can't be giving out Part P with like no certification body. Then you have to do it the long way, where you do your portfolio, the pictures, go to the council 2 weeks later. They're like, oh, did you do a fuse board change? And you're like, yes, no. So in terms of like works and stuff like that, but then I am also part of another company. So any work that I can do, I can invoice through them, and I am a qualified electrician on their company. So, they've got my qualification, they've got my CRB check, they've got everything else. So when I do certain works, we all team up and there's different ways around it. But because I'm qualified, I have all my qualifications, I have everything. I know that there is nothing that I'm doing that's wrong, right? So
yeah, no. Listen, I hear it, and you know what? I like it. It's a different perspective, and it's a necessary perspective, because in these times, and I do think it is tough times. I'm seeing it across the board on different things, certainly. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's just me being shit at what I'm doing, but I don't think it is. I'm seeing a lot of people struggling out there. And I do 100% believe it is a mindset. Because the second I decided to change my mindset, like last week, I've had a month off just bumming about and not doing a lot. doing my private jobs, getting enough to get by for the week for the family and that, and then all the other bits and pieces. And I decided to pull my finger out last week, and I'm set for next week now. So I do believe in the mindset, but I do believe it is hard at the moment.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I think it's to do with the whole microcosm, macrocosm. So on the inside is your mindset, so you can make it easy or hard for yourself at any point. However, the environment around us right now is very hard. There's a lot of things going on politically, which we will never talk about.
No.
In every other way, right now is hard, right? In terms of this cost of living crisis and this and that, and now it's like dark all the time, so everyone's going to start getting depressed again, and it's winter and then it's Christmas, and it's just going to be very hard. But we do have that option and that kind of power within ourselves to change the mindset and just try to be as positive as we can, which is not easy, but it's possible to just kind of try to flip your thinking and try to make it as...
Do you know what? I think I really and truly think you're absolutely right, because I'm always saying to agency electricians about this. I'm like, there's work out there if you want it. It depends how hard you want to work to get that work and how prepared you are when that work comes in. So say the only job about is a job where you've got to have an iPath and you've got to have a 2391 and all that sort of stuff. If you haven't got it, but that's the only job about, you didn't prepare for that moment. So where you've come along, and I remember when you was doing the podcast before, you was working towards your EPC certification. So you've got that now. So that's a nice little thing to have in your back pocket. Yeah, no, it's quite impressive, Kimmy. So like before, I remember we was talking, you was doing like mad hours. What's that situation like at the moment?
I was. So now, I was in the mad hours because I was my son, he would stay with his dad half the time, with myself half the time. So at the moment I've got my son full time, which means that I am restricted to normal working hours. I literally do on like 9 to 5. So I drop him off to school and then I have to pick him up. So I no longer have that flexibility to be out until whenever I want to be and work like 3 days in a row and not come home. I don't have that option anymore. So it's good because it's grounded me in a lot of ways. And I've had to find ways to make the same amount of money in a lot less hours. So it's, forced me to be creative. It's forced me to kind of narrow down on what I'm doing and put my prices up. Before I was happy, what, £30? I'll go do a call out at 2 o'clock in the morning for £30 because I was happy because I didn't have much to do. I was like, what? This is the council prices, right? We've discussed this before. £30 for a call out, totally normal. And I was so happy doing it because I didn't have much to do anyways. I didn't have a social life. And who's out at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday night anyways? So I would do it. Whereas now, somebody said £20 come out, £30 come out, even £100 come out on a Tuesday night. Like, I'm not going to do it because I've got different priorities now. So yeah, in terms of this working situation.
Are you still doing the council stuff?
So now I'm actually doing council EPCs.
Right.
So I'm still in the same properties for the same councils where I was doing electrics, but I'm doing the EPCs there. So that's just sort of kept me going for now, because it doesn't require like any work. You literally come in with your little iPad, 5 minutes, and it's done, and you go home. So
break down what an EPC is for me, because I've said it a few times. Like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is.
It's an energy performance certificate. Every single property in the UK that's rented or sold legally has to have one. So great, like literally everyone needs one basically. And the councils have to have that for their property. So when it becomes a void, before I would do the void, so I would do the EICR and I would do the works. Whereas now another contractor is doing the works and the EICR, and I'm actually doing the EPC. So you basically come in and check everything to do with energy. So do you have low energy light bulbs? I tick yes or I tick no on my little iPad. Then I look at your radiator. Is it storage heaters or not? Tick, tick. Do you have a fireplace? Tick, no tick. Is it double glazing or single glazing? Tick. And then I just take pictures and I submit it on the government website and then I get paid. So it's basically, you don't have to think much. You don't have to do much. It's just easy, light work, and it's a legal requirement. So you must have it. So you must pay me to do it.
So how, just talk a bit about that certificate. How hard is it to get? How much does it cost?
Or how much does it cost? So standard price is about £65 in my area for about 2-bedroom flat. So 1-bedroom flat, you can get 55, 2-bedroom, £65, let's say £75 for a 3-bedroom. That's the cost of the EPC certificate. It costs about £10 to lodge. So that's the lodgement fee you pay to go on the government website, which is what you have to do. It only goes through the government website. There is no other way to do it. So it's not like the EICR, whereas with this, you have to go through the government website. And it costs £10.
And how long did it take for you to get that qualification? How much did it cost you to get that qualification? And yeah, talk about getting it.
The qualification, there's like three different options. So there is an option to do a 5-day course. So 3 of the days is like doing your portfolio, and it's 1,500. Or you can get one for £1,000, but it's only 2 days, but then you have to do your own portfolio. And I did the one where you had to do your own portfolio because I wanted to save £500. And then it took me a year to do that portfolio because I'm unorganized and I've got ADHD. So if you're a crazy mess, do not do your own portfolio thing. But if you're organized, then yeah, you can do that and save yourself £500. So yeah, it takes a week. Then you get all your qualifications, you do your CRB check. It must come back clear because you're going through the government website and it's all official and you're going into people's homes. So yeah, you need your CRB check and that's it. In about 2 weeks, you're good to go.
So would you say like most of your work is like just like landlord sort of stuff? Or are you doing are you getting rewires and fixing people's light fittings and stuff like that? Or are you just mostly doing like this sort of landlord based certification stuff?
Yeah, well, because I've just come back over the last 2 weeks, I'm doing anything to find where I want to kind of be. So before, in the summer, I was doing rewires, I was doing everything when I was working. And as when everything happened in the summer, my little quarter life crisis, I stopped working. So now I'm literally starting back up from scratch. So my clients now are everyone and anyone and everything and anything until I feel like, let's say halfway through November, in about another month, I think by then I'll kind of settle in to what I do want to do and what I do not want to do. So I've decided 100% no rewires. I am not touching another rewire for God knows how long, because that I lost thousands of pounds on the last rewire I did. And I nearly lost my sanity and my reputation because I had to abandon the job because I wasn't in an okay position to be doing that. So I had to abandon the job halfway. I had to make sure that it came to a point where it was good enough for me to leave, to then, for the guy to get another contractor to finish it, because I wasn't able to. So I lost so much money on that job, trying to finish it up. I was just there every day. And I don't know if anyone else has had like mental health down days where you get to work and you just sit there, and where you're self-employed, you just sit there like, I don't want to be here. And you just sit there on the stairs in the basement looking at the fuse box for about 5 hours and you're like, I'm going to go home and just cry. Maybe it's just me. Maybe other people feel it too. But yeah, so that whole rewire just turned into shambles and all the other jobs and stuff. So yeah,
what? It's important. I think we should like explore that a little bit because it's quite important, because before I had my month off, I got in a right low ebb. Everything was going well. Things couldn't go any better. But I was getting to work and could barely get out my car. I was just sitting there thinking, I can't be fucked today.
I'd rather like look at my nail beds or like the clouds than get out the car. Like
anything other than I'll be like, I forgot my favorite screwdriver at home. I've got to go home and get it.
Oh my gosh, that was literally me. I'm like, look, I can't do it. So I'm like, literally my favorite screwdriver. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back. And literally any excuse to just go home. Or like if the client's like 2 minutes late, I'm like, yes, take a picture of the door, like I'm out. But I know like they're literally gonna be another minute. But I'm like, look, let me just take a picture that they weren't there and get out. And you get like that sometimes, when you have your little.
Yeah, you do. And I think I don't necessarily think it's a self-employed thing, but when you're self-employed, it smacks so much harder.
Answer to. Because when I was employed and I'd go through that, I know that my man is going to call me and say, where are you, Kimmy? We see in your tracker you're outside the job and like what's going on. And then that will force me to get up and go in. Whereas like I'm self-employed now. Who's going to call me to say that? What will I do? I'll text the client, sorry, I have to, like, I don't know, my van broke down. I don't even have a van. Say my van broke down. and then I'll reschedule with the client if I'm feeling so down. Do you know what I mean? But whereas when you're employed, you've got to go to the job. You've got to get it done. You might not even have the contact details to reschedule. So
there's some jobs that I can't even explain to you why, but there's some jobs I'll just get a feeling about the person on the phone. I don't want to go and do them.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, it's not like a negative feeling. I just think this job's going to be a pain in the ass. I ain't going. And then I'll wind myself up for days about this job. And then you'll go there and it's usually all right. But then that one time when it isn't all right, and you're like, I know I shouldn't have gone. What I don't know why I went. This is such a shit job. And I do think if you talk to anyone who works by themselves as much as the likes of electricians do, it does get very difficult. And I think everyone gets those days where it's just you can't barely get out of the van. There's some people that are like robots. That's just what they do. But there is definitely, I've definitely had more than my fair share of days where I just can't do it. I just can't.
It's that fight or flight freeze response, isn't it, that animals get, like when like a rabbit in the headlights kind of thing, but you're just there as an electrician, like there is no scary stuff. It's just a socket change. Come on, you got this. But then the worst thing is you'll get there and it'll be like the back lug will fall off or like there's a fault. And you're just like, and next thing you know, you're just there for 3 hours and the tenant's tea is like not even that good. And you're just like, why?
And the thing is, even if you're getting paid good money, you're like, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it.
I've had that before. We'll be like, some people will be like doing an EICI and be like, fuse box change, and be like, yes. Me, I'm like, please, like, I just don't want to do any work. I just want to like change a socket and just keep it moving. Like, I just don't even want that extra work because I just can't right now. Like, so that's where I was at before. But now I'm good. I've got this. So I'm quoting up to do like some spotlight changes and things like that. And I'm really, really actually excited.
Spotlight changes are the one. I do like that, especially when there's a load of them.
I've got loft access and there's loads of them. So I'm loving it. I'm already planning my little mask and like the little overalls to go in the loft. It's going to be great.
Wait, why are you going in the loft to change spotlights, you lunatic?
Because it's one of those things where I know I took it out and like the earths were chopped off. Some of them were not. And everything was everywhere. There was like 3 junction boxes that came out under one spotlight. So I know it's going to be crazy. So I want to go in the loft and just be able to just see the layout instead of like pulling them out and
hoping for the best. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Go in the loft, and then I've got the bird's eye view of all of it. And there's about literally 60 spotlights in a 1-bedroom flat. I don't know why. But yeah, my favorite thing is a lot of the work I get is because where I live is predominantly old people. It's by the seaside, so there's a lot of retirees and stuff like that, and they just want, Sheila's bought a new light to put up, and you go around and you put up the light. It's an easy 50 quid. I can do 2 or 3 of them a night after I've done a day's work and stuff, and it really adds up. And I love that stuff. I love swapping out light fittings. It's just like, because to normal people, civilians, if you like, they think you're doing something very technical, but to us it's just like a piece of piss. And it's just a great swap of time. So definitely. You are at a stage now, so you've just got back into it. You're getting going, you're doing the you're doing the 1s and 2s with like the property services, shall we say? Basically I'm trying to keep work to minimal tools, minimal materials, minimal everything, just my time in exchange for a good service. So I'm trying to keep that minimal because I'm scared to kind of overload myself where I'm coming back into work where I've taken so much time off. And sometimes when you're going through like these mental health kind of crisis or whatever things, I feel like you might kind of lose like your skills in a way. So like, like all these regs and all these things, like that was not a priority. So my brain kind of got rid of all that. Not all of it, obviously, it's just there, but you know what I mean? Like it needs to be like, so the other day I was, I needed to remember the Max ZS for a 40 amp breaker. And I was like, is it this or is it? I was like, is it? And then, do you know what I mean? It was just like by one number, I couldn't fully remember because there was, obviously I've been through a lot over the last few months. So that kind of got thrown out of my brain. So now I need to kind of refresh myself. So I'm doing like every night I'm reading the on-site guide and this and that, and I'm kind of refreshing myself. But this is what I'm trying to keep to the minimal kind of basic work to kind of build my confidence back up, because I feel very anxious and nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's a lot like to kind of throw yourself back in. So I feel like there is a lot of electricians I've spoken to on Instagram who have been off work for a few months, maybe even years, whether they've had to change careers or, you know, become a caregiver for somebody, or some of them have had like an injury, so they've not been able to work. So then coming back to being an electrician, for them, they seek guidance. Like, how do I now get back into that kind of work where I've taken so much time off? How do I now
funny?
Back up?
Do you know what's funny? It's not that I experienced something similar, right? So I've always been commercial industrial spark, but where I've been doing it for so long, I've worked in all kinds of different scenarios. And then, well, in the summer this year, I was working on a job in Maidstone on turning old council offices into flats. And we got there towards the end of the job, and we were doing a lot of snagging and extra sockets and stuff like that. And it was so easy compared to what I'd just been doing on the job before, which was doing a massive installation on all these different warehouses, all the three-phase incomers and all that sort of stuff. Big drawings, teams of people that I was managing. And all of a sudden, I'm cutting out an extra light fitting and rodding it through. And I had this sort of moment where I was like, this is really fucking easy to do this domestic stuff compared to what I've been doing. I'm just going to start punting out and trying to get my own work again. So, and then that sort of gave me the confidence. Just jumping onto like doing a little bit of house bashing in your day job, I was just like, I might as well just go and get paid to do this. And then it just sort of snowballed, and I started getting loads of work through Facebook and Nextdoor app, and I was just smashing through it. So I do get what you're saying. It's like coming back to it, you are going to need to get your confidence. Where that comes from and how that comes, you know, only time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah. So
do you think, so what about if you're doing like a lot of the property services stuff and they come back to you and they say, right, we've got, say you get in with a landlord, wouldn't it be a good idea to have like another spark that you could bring in to help you do rewires in the future?
Again, I had that in the summer, and again, I don't know what people go through. He might have been going through something. He let me down a lot of times. His phone would be off half the time. He would leave a mess when he did go to the job. He would upset my clients by just being unreliable or rude or whatever else. And I've tried to find another guy. Again, he'll just kind of be like, yeah, sure, I'll come in. And then his phone is off. Or he'll be like, yeah, so, you know, I've got the stuff. And then he worked with the builder on the site, and he like used his tool bit and he broke it, and then he took something else and this and that. And there was just so many problems. So at the moment, again, it's not something I want to do, because I'm scared that if I take somebody on, it will stress me out so much. Then I might fall back into that kind of place where I'm like, look, I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't need that. But eventually, that is the plan. So then eventually, when I get a rewire that I don't want to do, I will want to give it to somebody, but it's just finding the right person. And it's very hard. But again, it might be perspective, because I know there are people out there that will be amazing at doing that, but I've just not come across them yet. So when I do, I think that's when I'll be ready to take on these kind of jobs and, you know, team up with somebody that can help me out. But for now, I don't have anyone in my address, my contact address book that I can reach out comfortably and know they will have my back through any project and be there when I need them to, and take control and not, you know, I don't want to babysit someone on the job, and I don't want to be there like, can you put the socket here and then the socket there, and then I get there and they put the socket over here, and I'm like, do you know what I mean? I want to just be there. But when I find someone, until then.
See, I know what you mean. I have it's actually a listener of the podcast, and I'm always bouncing like quotes off of him and stuff like that, because if I do a rewire, he does them all the time, and I'll get him on. We'll go down the middle on it. So we'll go halves on it. We'll do it in half the time. We'll smash it out together, job done. And he brings his value, I bring my value. I got the job. I'm going to work with you. He's going to do the job with me, sign it off, bosh, we're done. So maybe something like that's probably a bit better rather than leaving someone to their own devices, because generally leaving people to their own devices does require a hell of a lot of trust, and not always does that go well. And any boss will tell you that, because a lot of people just do dumb shit, and you're like, I don't know why you've done that.
Yeah, so
it is a mad one. So the property, so your property services stuff, where's your next bit of work coming from? What is your next plan? How are you amping it up?
Like I did say, I'm literally for so many years now, I've never had to advertise. I somehow always have work all the time from random like mystery sources. So I have so much faith in that I know on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll be busy working, right? I've got childcare booked in, the half-term club, and I know I'll be working, but where? I have nothing booked in. I know to some people it sounds very insane, but to me, I know I'll be fully booked for the next week. Trust me, call me, you'll see every single day of the week, I'll tell you what I'll be doing. Every single day I'll be busy doing something, but it always comes to me the night before or on the day, or it just unfolds. Like I literally, there has been times where I've been sitting in CF and I'll sit there, get my little hot chocolate, just like chatting to everyone. And then someone will come in like, oh, like my apprentice called in sick today. And I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. Can I come with you? And they're like, yeah, and they'll literally pay me. I've had that before. So these kind of things, obviously it depends on your personality level. My personality level is insane. So for me, I would totally do that.
Yourself, you lunatic.
You know, so I would totally do that. So for me, I know that for the rest of the week, for the rest of the month, I'll be very busy working and I'll smash all my targets this month. But how and what and where, no idea.
But here's the thing, I don't think it's as random as you make out, because you're doing all the right things. You're you'll go and hang out at the wholesaler.
Oh, I love it. I literally go through every single one, and networking is so important. This is why I always say, you know, them like CF tech talks and stuff, they're so good. I literally went to one for the first time ever, and they are so sick. I don't know why people don't go to them. They're free, and when you go there, it's literally a bunch of electricians and different brands, and you can basically network with everyone and anyone, and just kind of build that kind of collab and like a little team and exchange work, exchange numbers, and it's really cool. But so I was saying just before you rudely interrupted, you didn't really interrupt me, but I was just talking for so long that, you know, you found again. Anyways, look, what I was saying is I always have the option of social housing work. So I know that, let's say now, for some reason, for the whole week, I could not find any work, and the next week I have no work and I need money. I know that I can make one phone call to any one of these 10 social housing companies and I will have work for the next day as standard, right? But we know that I've made YouTube videos about it before, that it's very low paid. As an electrician, apart from being an apprentice, the lowest paid thing you can do is be a social housing electrician. But that does mean that no matter what, there is always work if you need the money, right? Because £150 a day is better than zero if you need it, right? So I know that no matter what, I've always got that as a backup, which again adds so much confidence and security to like the whole concept of self-employed, that just no stress. If I don't have work for a week, I'll just do that.
See, I'm a little bit I do get what you're saying, actually, because, you know, some weeks I'll be sitting there and I've got nothing booked in for the next week, and I'm like, it doesn't really matter, because I know I only need 2 or 3 jobs to come in that week, and I'm sweet. Like,
and all it takes is, if you go through your phone, I bet, call 10 random contacts that you've worked with before, call them and tell them, oh, like, do you need any of my services this week? I guarantee you that at least one of them will say yes, and you'll get what you need from that. It's as simple as that. But do you know what it is? Because as humans, we're so like good at being complacent and comfort zone and this and that, we don't want to do much, that who actually does that? Who actually goes through their contact list on a monthly basis and reminds their clients like, hey, I've got some slots available this week. Would you like to book in any of my services? Or, you know, I'm offering a 5% discount on EICRs. Do any of your properties need it? Or whatever else. Who actually does that? Not many. So many self-employed people are just busy, like, wake up, do your jobs, go home, that we don't actually expand. We think of like advertising and My Builder and all these other apps where you sign up and the work come in. But there's a lot of other basic stuff that we could do to expand all the time, but we don't, because it's a lot easier.
You know what? I think actually you cover up everything by this mystical bullshit that you talk about. I'm going to manifest it, and the third eye this, and Jap's eye that. But actually, you are doing everything right. You've got your hustle is on point. You're out there hustling. You're out there being in the right place, preparing yourself for an opportunity. So you're hanging out in the wholesalers with all your qualifications, ready and willing to go and do whatever's required of you to earn a few quid. And then you're also on the front foot calling your contacts like once a month and stuff like that, and on the hustle all the time. There is no way you won't get work like that. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're not manifesting anything. You're hustling to make shit happen, and then you're being prepared for when that opportunity comes on. That's quite powerful, and I think that's something that is quite hard to learn. I think it's something like that hustle and that ability to hustle is something that it's almost a bit of a gift, if you like. You can go out and hustle up some work.
Yeah,
I like it. In the chat's been going off today. I'm not reading through it
about that, and there's actually people watching at this
oh mate, there's like 80 people in the chat. If anyone in the chat has got some questions for Kimmy, put Q at the beginning of your question, and then I'll read it out as we go. We've got another 15 minutes of
there
podding.
is one announcement that I would like to make.
On. Hit us. Well, hold on. So Kimmy's got a big announcement.
Okay,
let's hear it.
One medium announcement and one big. Who put that?
I don't know.
That's so cute. Big announcement. Sparkles came out. I love it. So I did a job for this old lady the other day. I changed her lights. I fixed the other lights, and I fault finded her problem and so forth, and changed some bits around. And do you know what she said to me? She said, "You're the best electrician in the UK." So officially, I have the award of #1 electrician in the UK. Right,
so that's not a big announcement.
That is a big announcement. So I put that in my Instagram bio. So officially, when you see that, it says #1 electrician in the UK. Again, sources, little old lady that I worked for last week. That
allegedly.
No, she said that.
No, yeah, but you have to say allegedly.
So it doesn't matter whether it came from a Screwfix Awards or this awards or whoever awards, or the little old lady from the other down the road. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm #1 electrician in the UK as it stands. And second announcement. So remember how when me and you first ever did our podcast and you asked me what is my power tool brand?
Yeah, go on.
I've officially switched. Take a guess.
Milwaukee.
Nope.
Oh, I bet it's something like Ryobi.
Nope.
Go on, what is it? Hold on.
It's the colour scheme.
Well, that's Milwaukee, isn't it?
Nope. Give you another clue. I'm trying to be like Artisan Electrics.
I don't know. Anyone in the chat? Anyone in the chat? Oh, Hilti. Oh, gone Hilti, have you? So you've gone from literally the crappiest one to the most expensive one. So you've gone from, what was it, JCB Tools?
Yeah.
And just for the record, just so let's have this right, JCB are dickheads to get hold of to try and get like any sort of connection with a influencer. They want you to write in as a letter, not even I won't even give you an email. I
saw that. So anyway, so I've upgraded to Hilti and it's sick. Like I absolutely love it.
Oh, it's different gravy, but it's about 400 quid just for that one impact.
Oh my gosh, my laser measurer.
Do you mean a laser level?
No, because I do the EPC, so I need to measure floor plans. So I need to measure. So that I won't even say how much, but yeah, it's like a week's wage. It's insane. But the quality is amazing. I could probably drop it off the top floor of the tower block and it'll bounce back straight up to the top floor. It's sick. So yeah, so that's the thing. I'm no longer a JCB girl, so no one ever comment that anywhere again. I am now officially.
Good, because they were dickheads. I am Electrical.
I feel like so bougie with my little bag, and I come out and it says Hilton, and I drop out my little Range Rover, and I'm like, hey, it's the electrician. And then I work for like social housing. Absolutely love it. People are like, what? How?
So we've got Azuri Electrical, who's a top boy. He's one of my favorite people. He says, is your attitude so positive because you work in social housing?
Oh, that's a good one. I do feel like that forces you to be positive, because I do work in a lot of very bad places. So at the moment, the council I work in is worse than the council I worked in before. And that area is very, very bad for drug substance abuse. So most of the house I work in, they're really badly addicted to a lot of heavy drugs. So when I'm walking around, like, these people cannot even walk. They just kind of lay around in the communal areas, and it's really depressing. So there is that pressure to feel grateful for what you have. So when I get to go home, I'm like, thank God I actually get to go home to a nice area that doesn't have that at my doorstep. And thank God that I don't have to bring up my child in these kind of areas. It makes you very grateful for your job as well, that, you know, I can choose to do anything, but here I am choosing to help these people that live in these kind of environments that don't really have a choice. And yeah, it can be very depressing. So it does force you to do the opposite, which is be as positive and as grateful as you can be.
So you're bouncing about in these really dodgy parts of London again, but you're not bouncing about late at night now, are you? What is the difference? Is it just as dicey in the daytime, or is it a little bit more like it's an easier vibe in the daytime?
Just as bad. Yeah. So because I work on worse estates now than I did before. So these estates, even in the daytimes, they're so bad. Like it's really sad. Like, actually, some of the times, like, I just sit there in my car just thinking like, wow, I never knew that this hardcore drug usage was right here in London. Like, I thought,
so not so bad as in like it's like you're gonna get attacked or something, but just it.
No, that happens. So where this council, we're not allowed to leave the doors open. So on a void, normally we leave the door open, like the windows open, so, you know, you can air it out while the painters are painting or whatever. We're not allowed to do that in this council, because a lot of the people got evicted from their properties. So they're looking for any moment to just kind of jump back in. So I had a lady, she ran in, she grabbed everything in the hallway, including the letters and everything that was in the hallway, like the paint buckets or whatever. She ran out. So we're not allowed to leave the doors open, because at any point we can be attacked or people can run back in. So all the doors are side text, which is like proper boarded off. Some of the sites I have to meet someone else there to unlock it and close it back up. It's just as dangerous in the daytime as it is in the nighttime.
Yeah. So what, like, have you got any mad stories going on? But you've only been back a couple of weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, recently. Yeah, just a couple of weeks back. And I literally had, like I said, I had that lady, she just ran in and she just grabbed everything, just ran back out. And what? I don't get paid enough to go chase her. It's not my stuff. Do you know what I mean? So what am I going to do? Obviously, that does scare you, because I'm like, look, that could have been like my tool bag there, or she could have grabbed me. She could have done anything. So there's a lot of different things that, you know, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not getting involved in nothing like that. If they want to jump in there, I'm not a security guard, and you couldn't pay me enough to get involved in that shit.
Yeah, literally, I'm like,
wow.
But yeah, it gets very interesting. It gets very, and then there's a lot of people that, you know, see you and they're like, what are you doing here? You're on the blocks, like, you're looking suspicious, because I do get people that think I'm a police officer or like a bailiff, because I wear like the all black uniform, the little jacket, and like it's not labeled to say I'm an electrician, right? So people either assume that I'm a policewoman, a bailiff, which again, everyone wants to fight those two, or, you know, when I say, look, I'm working for the council, then they're like, oh, well, I sent an email last week, you didn't reply to that email last week. And I'm like, yeah, but that's nothing to do with me. And then they get aggressive and they don't understand how I'm not the one reading the emails. I don't know Susie, who's like dealing with your case, so I can't help. But they don't know that, so they start attacking you, cussing you out and this and that. And I just got to be like, well, you know, pick myself up, be positive, carry on my jobs for the rest of the day.
That's mad. So do you think you'll try and sort of get away from these sort of tower block estate sort of scenarios and get into more private landlords, get away from it?
Because I love it. It's like, you know, when some people have a passion, like some people genuinely want to do, like, I don't know, like a first response or whatever, and they actually enjoy helping people whose like arms and legs got chopped off or whatever, and they're like doing all this stuff. Me, I could never. But some people, that is like their life purpose and passion in a way. So for me, like, I really actually genuinely enjoy working in these kind of environments. I think it's because I grew up in these areas, so it kind of feels like home. And at the same time, I do feel like I'm helping people who like a lot of the electricians, they don't care. They'll literally go to the same house, and all these builders, they'll just kind of ignore the problems. Whereas myself, I'll do my best to actually genuinely help, and I will report like the mold and the collapsed ceiling. Whereas other people, they'll just, not my job. I'm not reporting your ceiling that's collapsing. Whereas myself, I'll be like, you know what, I'll do my best. You know, you've got this like children living here, and I'll actually genuinely go out my way to report it. So these kind of things, I do really enjoy doing this. So I don't see myself fully stopping anytime soon.
So one of the things that is a pet peeve of all electricians working in London, certainly if they're in the van or driving about from job to job, Tim Larson brings it up in the chat, parking. What is the scenario with parking?
So parking, again, there is no scenario. It's awful. It's so bad. And now with this ULEZ thing and this and that, it's so bad. Prices have gone up for parking as well. There's no bays.
Parking's mad at the moment.
There's so many roadworks that even the bays that were there are no longer there because it's roadwork. So they kind of like detour it to be the pedestrian route. And then in London, they've also done this thing where they put a plant pot in the middle of the road and say pedestrians only, and you can't drive through. And then there's a camera there. If you do drive through, you get like an £85 ticket. And they will literally put that on every side road going to the main road to make everyone go through the main road, because apparently that is somehow safer and causes less pollution than everyone having shortcuts. So normally what I would do, I'll drive this way, come out, takes me 1 minute. Now I've got to drive all the way around, and it takes me 20 minutes to do that 1 minute journey. But they say this is better for some reason. Again, politics, I don't get involved. I'm not a trained politician, so I don't know, mate.
Even trained politicians don't know what they're doing. So what are we meant to do?
So, yeah,
but no, parking's the worst. Parking's the worst. One of the things I realized is when I moved down here, the parking down here in the winter is fine, but in the summer, because you got loads of tourists, we call them DFLs, down from London's. When they come, I'm actually classed as DFL, even though I live down there. Yeah, but the parking around here, it's mental. Like sometimes it's mental. So I haven't been to London for years now. I can only imagine how bad it is in London. How much are you paying a day for parking?
So a lot of the times I get the clients to pay, and at the moment, because I'm working in the council estates, I get the visitors permit. But some of the estates, it's funny, you work for the council, but you're not allowed to park in the estates. So do you know what happened to me literally on Friday? This guy was looking out the window and he saw me parking there, and he ran out and he locked me in. He's like, I'm not letting you in, you shouldn't park in here. And I was like, I work for the council. He said, doesn't matter. I'm not letting you back out. So then I had to call the council to come and let me out of their car park that I work for. So yeah, so a lot of the times now I don't
Who did that? Do you know how triggered I'd be?
You know what it is? It's an old people's home, and there's a lot of, they're retired, they don't have anything to do. So that one guy, he always menaces me. I always park there and he runs out. Or if I've got like a job next door, he'll always come in and complain. Like he'll be like, oh, you made too much noise with those keys. And he is so annoying. But anyways, if he's watching this, mate.
You're a dickhead. Do you know how triggered I'd be if someone locked me in a car park? I'd be so triggered.
And it was the last job on a Friday. Can you imagine?
I'd get my grinder out. I'd grind that lock straight off. Be like,
it's not even a lock. It's those girder locks. That's like, you can't even grind it off. It's like humongous and attached to the gate. Like,
oh, fuming, man.
So luckily, one of the guys was like not far off, and he had the key, and he came in and let me back out.
Oh wow, that would trigger me so hard, mate. So what's on the agenda like going forward now? So you're going to move to the next level. What's getting you to the next level?
Next level. So now I've got a whole motivation of obviously building my clients back up. But what is really motivating me is getting to share it with the social media community, right? All the electricians that are just out there watching my content that I put on Instagram and stuff. Because obviously self-employed, I don't have any colleagues. I don't have anyone that I work with. It gets so lonely. So sharing on Instagram and actually having the community there to interact and ask questions and everything is really like the thing that's motivated me to keep going and so forth. So I really want to give back to the community, and I want to create amazing content. So if you are watching this, if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kimmy the Sparks, I would appreciate it. Also, if you want to follow my Instagram as well, or TikTok, all of them are Kimmy the Sparks. great. I've got amazing content planned for the whole of the next month, and then after that, again, making new content. So yeah, that's
So you're going to do Kimmy the Sparks channel. It's going to be proper, links in the show notes. You're going full bore at it. We're leaving, like, you can come back and be a regular if you want on here, like once a month or something. You can jump on.
On how let's do like a little update check-in. So I'll come back in and let you guys know how much money I made from now till then, doing what I'm doing, and then that way you will know that you can also do it too, because if I can,
why don't you do a little like Kimmy's top tip? Like, what you should do is a video.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all of that on my YouTube
on how to hustle. Yeah,
I'm gonna do all of this on my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe, hit me up, and again, Instagram stories, I'm there every day sharing like day-to-day stuff that I'm doing, and yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna make content just kind of sharing like all this manifesting stuff, but like you said, it's just called hustling, but I make it sound cute, like it's manifesting, and I don't do nothing, but I work hard. I'm one of the hardest working people out there, probably. I don't give up.
All right, relax.
Come on,
relax,
pick myself up. Give me a pat on the back, somebody.
All right, listen, Electricians Podcast, brilliant to have you back, Kimbo. We are out.
Thank you for watching. Cute.
We're not finished yet.